In this video, part 3 of the series, we configure the RF and event parameters for each sensor unit. Before performing the procedures in this video, make sure you have completed all the steps from part 2 of this series, adding sensor units to the network manager. Electronic components are susceptible to damage from electrostatic discharges. ESD-caused damage may not be evident and may drastically reduce the product lifespan. Whenever working with or handling exposed components or assemblies, always follow these anti-ESD recommendations. Always use protective anti-ESD devices like wrist straps, heel straps, conductive shoes, and anti-static mats. Avoid handling exposed boards and assemblies in dry or static-prone environments. Hold circuit boards by their edges and avoid touching components. When not in use, store circuit boards in anti-static bags. To configure the sensor unit, RF, and event parameters, you will require a Windows PC with the UCM and Network Manager software installed, the network sensor units, a deployment plan listing site-specific configuration parameters. Before you start, confirm the sensor units are connected and operational by observing their status lights on the Network Manager front panel. The status light for each sensor should be green. Start the UCM software. For the network type, select Krypton Network. For the device type, select Sensor Unit Gen 2. Select TCP/IP. For the IP address, enter 127.0.0.1. This is the IP address used by Network Manager, which in this case is running on the local computer. Select the Network Manager used by the sensor units. Typically, this is Network Manager 1. For address, click on the Browse button and select the sensor unit. You should see all the sensor units within the network. Select the first sensor unit and click OK. Click Connect. Once the connection is established, the COM status light will turn green. Click the Config tab. In the Identification field, enter a brief description of the sensor unit's installation location. Set the PPD ID ranges. These values determine how many PPDs can be in use at the site. Any PPD with an ID outside of this range is ignored. Confirm that PPD detection is enabled. Configure which PPD events are monitored and reported by the sensor unit. If a feature is not used at your site, for an example, man down, disable it. In the SAT2 section, configure the ID range reserved for use by sensor units that are configured to also function as test units. Events generated by these units mimic PPD events. The test ID range must be the same for all sensor units in the system and not overlap with the PPD IDs. If this sensor unit is to be used as a test unit, specify the test ID. The test ID must be unique and within the previously configured ID range. Typically, the last 3 digits of the unit serial number are used. For example, in this case, the value would be 4, followed by 021. To disable a unit's test functionality, enter a value of 0. Consult with your Senstar technical representative for recommendations regarding test unit numbers and locations. The noise diagnostic alarm parameters configure how non-PPD or ID out-of-range events are reported by the Flare operator software. Threshold is the number of bad ID events required before a noise diagnostic alarm is generated. The hold time is how long in seconds before another noise diagnostic alarm can be generated. The receiver frequency field must match that used by the PPDs in the system. This field is locked by default. To unlock it, from the menu, choose View and then select Advanced Parameters. Change the receiver frequency to that used by your Flare system. If unsure, contact your Senstar technical representative. If the sensor unit is to use external antennas, enable the Use External Antenna option for each channel. Please note that sensor units using external antennas cannot be used as test units. To keep your changes, click Download and select Yes. The download is complete when the COM status light turns green. Next, click Reset and select OK to make your changes active. The connection will be lost for a few seconds. The COM status light will turn green when the sensor unit resumes operation. Save a local copy of the sensor unit configuration to your PC by clicking Save. You may need this file if you ever need to contact Senstar technical support. Repeat this process for the other sensor units. After configuring them, Your Flare system will have basic functionality and be able to receive events from programmed PPDs.